Hello, 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 everybody. If you're there, hello. Welcome to another live stream, Catch Up with Mayo. And I'm here. I made it. I was just over at Beatley Tones for seemed like over an hour and a half. I don't know. I was there a while. Had a great time. I had to get off because I'm here to do my show. And thank you, folks, for checking in. We got let's see, James Farley. Hello, James, and hello, Gary. And Charlie, he may be late. He's on with Beatley Tone. Well, I just got off, so here I am. I try to be as punctual as I can. Sometimes it can't be helped. I try to. Hey, hello, Mike. What do you say? What do you say? What do you hear? What do you say? Etc. Etc. However the saying goes. I'm trying to fix my glasses because, as I often say, these are bifocals, and the bottom is for near, close. And sometimes so I try to put those up higher, but it doesn't always work. So, Michael, is this Michael? Hello, Michael. What's going on? Hello, Dino. Hello, Dino. Double duty. Yeah, I'm working hard today. It's a busy day here. I went to Record Store Day early this morning to pick up the George Harrison "Be Here Now." And do I have it? Yes, I have it handy here. I'm going to try to show it to you again. Although I did a Record Store Day video of it. Here it is, the 12-inch single, "Be Here Now." George Harrison, along with the version by Beck, does a version on side 2. And I did that. I went to Record Store Day. Then I made a video because I went to see One to One, John and Yoko, last night at the IMAX Theater. And it was such a big event. I loved it. It was spectacular on the big screen with the fantastic sound. And after that, I just went on with Beatley Tone for quite a while. So it's a busy day. It's a busy day. Hello, Brad. Good to see you. Mr. Martinez, James, how are you? All right. And I got my water here. Hopefully, I've got enough water left in this thing. It's not very big. Okay. And today was Record Store Day. It is still Record Store Day. And Brad says, he dropped a pile of money today. Ouch. Definitely. How many books do I have in my collection? I don't know. That's not all my books. There's books here on all these shelves. Like, I don't know how many shelves. 1, 2, 3, 5 shelves. But then I got them in other rooms too. So, hello, Beetlejeb. What's going on? And you're on your way home after work. Yeah. Some people, like I say, some people like the time that I do this Saturday at this time. Some people don't like it. Can't please everybody. Okay. Hey, hello there. What's going on? We are smelly. Yes, I skipped the Harrison Zoetrope 3 LP. I got a lot of versions of All Things Must Pass. I don't need another one, I guess. So I did pass it, yeah. I waited in line today, but I still couldn't find John Lennon One to One or the George Harrison All Things Must Pass Zoetrope. Very disappointed. Yeah. There was one copy left at the store I went to at the time. Do I have any novels in my collection? Yeah, I have novels, but they're novels probably of things like Salem's Lot, Jaws, horror stuff like that, Planet of the Apes, stuff like that. Movies I like, novels of that kind, you know. So, I may be referring to my phone every now and then. I'm sorry, I got to check on something, messages that I'm expecting somebody. I just want to see what's going on. Wait a second. Wait a second. Did I do something wrong here? Oh, you're kidding here. Oh my God. My review was still. Oh, I don't know what I did here. Hold on. I thought I put this on. Did I not put my? I don't know what's going on here, folks. I might have to take a break for a second because something's up with my video that I just supposedly. I don't know. I thought I had put my one-to-one review up before I went on with Beatley Tone, but I think I didn't make it public. I think. Um, I do have the George Harrison Uber box. I never open it up. I don't need to for a listen because I've got plenty of other sources. I've got CDs over here. I've got standalone vinyl over there. It doesn't really mean that I got to go in there to play it. That's one of the things I don't like about big box sets because how many times are you going to want to dig in there to hear the music? Every to go open it up. The reason I got it is for the collectability of it and the paraphernalia that's in there, the collectible stuff, the extras. That's why the book and stuff. That's why I've got it. You know. Did you do a notification for this appearance? We're talking about with Beatley Tone. If that's the case, no. I'll have to settle for the record store day leftovers tomorrow. Sometimes you can get lucky. Sometimes there's stuff that lingers around if there's something you wanted. I missed record store day. Can't get up early enough. Well, you snooze, you lose. Raymond. I doubt it. I doubt that Danny bothered with the new Oasis live set at the record store. Do you know if that lady at the front of the queue got her Wicked vinyl? I don't know. But being that she was the first person online, I would have to think so. I would have to think so. Thank you very much. Support Mr. Mayo. Hit the like button. I appreciate that. Thanks very much. Do I have a favorite drama movie? I've got plenty of them. Well, probably Ben-Hur, 1959. Did the weather hinder record store day at all? Well, yeah, yeah. Terrible weather doesn't, makes it miserable. It was miserable, but that's all in the past now. The way I look at it is, I got a video out of it, some content, I put it up, and I got what I wanted, so it wasn't a bust. It would have been a real drag if I went through that waiting around, and I didn't wait that long, really, only a couple of hours. Was it about a couple of hours? And yes, Tom, this is 100% true. This is something that you and I know very well. The early bird gets the worm. Hello, Paul. Psycho's Platters. It's a good word. Tom Bosley. And the weather sucked in the mid Atlantic. I hear you. I would rather it be a nice, sunny, warm day. It was freaking cold. It was cold, rainy. I had to wear, as you saw in my video, I had to wear it was a fleece sweatshirt with a zipper and a hood. I actually got it for Christmas one year. I don't know when. I never wore it. Now I had a reason to wear it. It was brand new, first time worn. Zip that thing up with the woolly fleece in there, and I also put a hat on. I had my freaking baseball cap, and I had my winter coat over it. The only thing I forgot were the gloves. So what I didn't have any gloves, so I had to take my hands and put them inside the sleeves. Let's see. Closest record store is about 30 miles away. It depends where you live, definitely. How important do you think cover art is to an unknown band you're going to possibly buy or listen to? Well, of course, the bottom line is the music. What's the music, But cover art is very important to me. I like good cover art. And if somebody's put a gun to my head and say you have to choose either the music or the cover art, what the Beatles say, you got to have just the music or just the cover art. Well, I'll pick the music, but I don't have to make that choice. I can like both. That's how I look at it. Tom, I'm assuming you're unavailable to come up, but let me know. I think you're away. This appearance you're doing now. Oh, I see. You didn't get a notification. I don't know what this is about, man. I don't understand. I put a thumbnail up. I should have put a you should there should there was a thumbnail up, right? I mean, I advertised this a while. Yeah, I advertised it, and thoughts on people that buy record store day stuff just to put it straight onto eBay. Are you listening? You suck. How's that? You suck. Okay, people that just do it for that. I mean, they're within their rights to do it. They're not legally wrong, morally wrong. A lot of people are out there. They're really diehard fans. It doesn't matter whether you like the Beatles stuff or whether you like Taylor Swift. What if you're a Swiftie out there and you want the so a young person really looks forward to the new Taylor Swift album or whatever, a record store day, and I'm going to go and buy up all the copies I can find and just sell them to make a buck. And the hell with you. I know you're allowed to do it. It's not against the law. It's just not classy. That's all. Kind of like people who want to stand up in front of you and dance when you're at a rock concert sitting down. And I'm going to make a rant video about that. It hasn't happened to me recently, but I saw a Facebook or something video of it with two women getting into it, having an argument. Yeah, I don't know. Back to what Brad was saying, Brad Hill. I don't know what that is, folks. You got to try to click on. I know you got to hit the bell, you know. But and Charlie says I got notified. Okay, good. Well, let me know, Tom, what you want to do if I'm still here. I'm going to be here for maybe to 6:30, maybe a little longer. Okay. Thank you, Lila. I appreciate that. How was record store day for me? It was one of the worst record store days in the sense that it was just miserable weather. Um, do I still believe in Record Store Day? Yeah, I guess so. It's a chance for people to get some cool stuff. It's a chance for people to get together on the line. Unfortunately, where I was at on my line, I'm going to send you a link, Tom. I'll send you a link. Um, where I was at on the line, there weren't people that were talkative, so I didn't have much people to talk to, which sucks. Usually, if you get on a line and you can have a good rap with these people and you can really talk and have a good time, the time goes fast and it's fun. So but I don't like standing in the rain. But at least it didn't pour. It was light drizzle, and sometimes it wasn't raining at all. Sometimes it wasn't raining at all. Sometimes it was light drizzle. Uh, I don't mind a little jumping up and down at the concerts, right? But not the whole show. Hello, Robbie. How are you there, Robbie? Detroit's Vinyl. Hello, Michael. What's going on? We just sunbathe at the beach, and Record Store Day comes to us. I like it. Was it Bazooka Joe's store you were at? Yes, it was Bazooka Joe, and it was crowded there this morning. Yeah. Do you remember what album did you buy on your first record store day? Wow. I don't know now. I don't know what the first one was. Yesterday, I just got the Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons Ultimate Box with 44 CDs. Oh, I heard of that. Vinyl record. It's a $400 item, and you got it on Amazon for $199. That's half off. Very good. Hello, Gary. What's going on? Stop by the store around 1:30. We're still pretty crowded. Didn't go for record store day just to pick up a Dylan album I left behind on Thursday. Yeah, I didn't see you. I was long gone by then. I was home by 10 a.m. There is no vinyl worth spending the night outside. Too old for that stuff. Yeah, well, the whole night is a different story. I can't really do that anymore either. The whole night, I don't want to spend the whole night. Uh, oh yeah, the flippers are having a field day. Yeah, yeah. Flip this. I'm talking about people who deliberately do it just to make. They don't give a shit about it. I'm not talking about people who maybe have an extra copy that they didn't want or something and they want to sell it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that just go out to freaking make trouble. Anyway, let me help Tom out here. Let me get the. It's hard to do a show and do this at the same time. Give me a moment here. I'm not going anywhere. Even though some of you probably would like that I do, but I don't know. Hold on, hold on. Come on, almost there, folks. Boy, oh boy. Okay, there we go. I don't really know the Pet Shop Boys unless I hear a song and say to myself, "Oh, that's the Pet Shop Boys." Oh, I know that song. I like that song. I don't think I know any. Um, do you look at the list before Record Store Day and tick off what you may want? Yes, I do. I do. And lately there hasn't been that much that I've wanted, to tell you the truth. But some years I had like five things. I guess. Yeah, exactly. Or whatever it is, yeah. It's just my personal opinion. Some other people may be like, "Hey, look, life's tough, man. I gotta make a living." Whatever. Cherry Carter, what's up? When I was a teen in '77, slept out to get Alice Cooper tickets. There were guys playing frisbee, playing Alice. So everyone was really friendly, a lot of fun. I remember when yeah, same thing happened to me. You say, not sure I even slept. There was only one time when I waited for tickets overnight. It was in 1989 at Madison Square Garden in New York. The first time I was going to see Paul, I wanted to get tickets, so I stayed overnight. I had my girlfriend at the time. It wasn't this girlfriend; it was a previous girlfriend. We didn't none of us slept. We were all talking and laughing and joking. People had boom boxes and music. I remember one guy, I always tell this story. He was playing the Ram album, and when the song Monkberry Moon Delight came on, he stood up and he was like singing it, raising his arm, Monkberry Moon. He was like it was fun. And we wound up not getting tickets. That's the crazy end of the story, because by the time the ticket booth opened up, a Ticketmaster or whatever it was. Well, it wasn't ticket. It was at the Garden box office. There were no tickets, and they were trying to give us wristbands. And I never went for the wristband, and I wound up getting in to see two shows in 1989. Anyway, how did I do it? Through a scalper. That's how I saw Paul in 1989. Two scalper tickets, 2 nights. I have a good number of Frankie Valley Four Seasons vinyl, and CDs also. I do. Offhand, I don't know what they all are, but okay. What was your initial thought on the Beetle Fest? It seemed to come and go so quickly. Was it one of your best ones? Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. As I often say, it feels like you could just play a record, rinse, wash, rinse, repeat. It's the same thing over and over again. There will never be anything like the old Beatle Fests from the 1970s, 1980s, and the 1990s. The 20th century Beatle Fest. There'll never be anything like it. They were the best. Um, these days, there's something different that I have now that I didn't have then. Now I have this channel. Now I like to go to meet people like Lila, other people. I go there to meet people that want to meet me, that watch the channel. We talk, we hang out, we have some food. I meet people like Andy Nichols, Tom Hunyadi, Beetle Brad when he goes, Matthew Street when he goes, Marvin G, Alan C. Records. I mean, on and on and on. And it's more fun that way. So there's good and there's bad. The fests were better in the 20th century because they had better guests because people weren't dead yet. I was and stuff like that. And it was the only place you could really buy Beatles collectibles because they didn't have an internet. There was no internet, so you had to go there to get them. But there are some people like Tom Hunyadi, who might come up here soon, who he's only gone to a few Beatle fests fairly recently in the 21st century, and he loves it. He loves it. And younger people who have nothing to compare it to. Let's see. Chris, hello. I like the song Lies. I do. Buddy Hackett, he was all right. I was not a huge Buddy Hackett fan. I like Buddy Hackett best in the movie It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. 56 people watching and only 6 likes. Come on, folks, hit that like button. I'm not, I don't usually do that. I need other people to do it. Hit the like button. Thank you. Do you think the new 4 Beatles movies will include, sadly, the 2 demises? And will that mean the surviving 2 will be open ended movies? I mean, I don't know, Lila. I can only speculate. I think they're only going to go up to the Beatle years. I imagine they're just going to do the Beatles years that they were together, to 1970 when they broke up. And yeah, there's going to be 4 movies. But as I keep telling everybody, the movies are not supposed to come out to 2028. We're talking about 3 years yet. Yeah, I didn't make a video about this, and I was really wondering if I should, because I really like Blondie. I grew up with Blondie. I like Blondie a lot, and I always loved the drummer, Clem Burke, who died recently at the age of 70. And anytime people say, "What drummers do you like?" Well, I say Ringo Starr, John Bonham, Keith Moon, and I always say Clem Burke from Blondie. So, yeah, thank you, Mystery Train. I appreciate that. It might be time for me to start watching. Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson's all right. I think my favorite talk show host was David Letterman. I think I like David Letterman best. Johnny Carson was all right too. Yeah, he was good. It was with Johnny Carson. It was more. I don't know. At the times, it was more like nostalgia for me. Clem Burke was a powerhouse. He was a great drummer. Yeah, really, really powerhouse. I like that. Yeah. So, so what's on everybody's so-called minds today, huh? Besides Record Store Day, although we could talk about that. We could talk about Record Store Day. We could talk about the John Lennon movie. We could talk about other movies. We could talk about Beatles. It's a wide playing field. We started working our way through Gilligan's Island. My partner is a little more enthusiastic than me. I'm meh. I'm also meh. Even though I like old shows from the 60s and 70s and stuff, Gilligan's Island never really grabbed me, to be perfectly honest with you. Never really. But I could watch every episode just to hear the theme song over again. It's my favorite theme song of all time. Hello, what's going on, Michelle? I've been watching the live streams from, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know what you mean. Did you watch any of it? I have to say, no, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know this, I like the Ramones. I didn't know that Clem Burke was played with the Ramones, but from what I understand, he only played with the Ramones for a little bit. He didn't play on regularly. Am I right about that? Or am I wrong about that? Clem's fills on Dreaming. That's right. My favorite Blondie album is Eat to the Beat. That's my favorite Blondie album, and I love that song, Dreaming. Great times, man. I was 17 when the golden age of 17 when Eat to the Beat by Blondie came out. I watched Lady Gaga, but it was too computerized and so staged. More theater than a gig. I like that. Well said. Well said, Fred. Right said Fred. I was going to say, well said Fred. Right said Fred. Oy. I'm not big on F Troop either. It's funny. There's some shows like I never liked F Troop. Or Wrangler Jane. Also, I was not wild about Hogan's Heroes. I never was big on either. This I do not know. Maybe Tom Magnotti can answer this if he comes up or when he comes up. He said he would be on in 20 minutes a little while ago. Clem Burke's name in the Ramones was Elvis Ramone. Wait a second. I'm drawing a blank. I was thinking of talking to you. Who was I thinking besides the Ramones? Uh, wow. Drawing a blank now. The Romantics. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, I know. That's Gilligan's Island theme song written by Sherwood Schwartz. Exactly. Lawrence Juber's father-in-law, right? Because he's married to Hope Schwartz, who's Sherwood Schwartz's daughter, and who was in some episodes of The Brady Bunch. George Harrison Record Store Day item, $60 on eBay now. Oh, boy, sorry. How much did I pay? $26.99. I paid $27. It's a little hefty for a single. If something fell down that back of that cupboard behind you, Joe, would you leave it or move everything to get it out? I'm trying to follow that. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh no, I couldn't move that. I couldn't move that stuff. The only time I could move that those shelves or bookcases is when I finally move out of this place. I don't believe anything's ever fallen down there, and if it did, it'd have to stay there till I move. Elvis gets no more love on Record Store Day. I remember they used to have lots of Elvis stuff out. Yeah, I remember that. Well, Joan Jett also. Joan Jett used to have a lot of stuff out on Record Store Days, you know? Yeah. Fun fact, Buddy Holly and the Crickets, in searching for a good name for their band, nearly came up with the Beatles. Thank God they didn't. They saved that for our boys. There's Elvis Record Store Day records available on Elvis Australia website. Is Girl Happy one of them? Can you describe the different stages of the butcher cover? I can't grab it right now. I had one here. Well, at first they put it out in 1966, and it was just the picture of all of them with the baby dolls and the blood and the butcher smocks and all that and the meat. They just put it out like that. That's stage one, untouched the way it was released, and that's worth the most money if you could find that. That was never touched. Then they recalled some of them. They recalled all of them. They took them all off the shelves, and some of them they just stuck the new white cover over. And the second stage is when you look at a white cover with the trunk on it, and you can see Ringo's black V vest shirt underneath through the white. That's stage two, unpeeled. Stage three is when somebody peels the cover and reveals it underneath after they take the cover off. That's stage three. Who's my favorite member from the Cars? I really only know Rick Ocasek and Benjamin Orr. Both of them sing so similarly that I used to think they were the same guy, but then I realized Benjamin Orr sounds a little different from Rick Ocasek. I'm going to go with Rick as my number one, but they're both right there. Have you noticed lots of unboxing vids on vinyl, but not many do a follow up on what they actually sound like? Oh, yeah. Guilty as charged. Um, did the Beatles have other band names they were throwing around before calling themselves the Beatles? Well, I think the Four Everly Brothers was one of them. The Silver Beatles. They put silver in front of it. Um, those are the ones that pop in my mind. If I forgot anything else, wow. Girl Happy is the new FTD release, right? Okay. I got it mixed. All right. The new Follow That Dream release. Yes. Well, I don't know if there was actually, no, I don't think there was a massive uproar. I don't think there was. I'll take it back. Yeah, I don't think there was a massive uproar. I think the record company just said, let's get this out of here. Long John Silver. Well, I don't think so. I think that the thing was the Beatles, they were doing a tour at one time. And it's funny because supposedly they all had different names. Like you had Paul Ramon, Carl Harrison, and John was supposedly Long John Silver, but John really denied that, and he wrote a nasty letter. It is a book that came out that said he was called Long John Silver, and he wrote a nasty letter. You could see it in the revised edition, 1978 or so, revised edition of the Beatles, an illustrated record. And he says, "Set the illustrated record right, or forever hold your penis." He said, I was never, ever a time where I was known as Long John Silver." And that's that. Paul McCartney, I heard him say in interviews, "Well, John could say what he wants, but I'm telling you, he was Long John for that tour." He seems to remember that he was Long John. So I don't know. Yeah, there's Johnny and the Moondogs, of course. How could I forget that? How about the Beat Brothers? Tony Sheridan and the Beat Brothers. And of course, the Quarrymen. That was really John's band, really. But yeah, I guess it goes along with that. The Nerk Twins. The Nerk Twins was only John and Paul, just the two of them. Paul later said they all changed their names. Right, that was his take on it. John swore he never changed his name, but who knows? Well, here's somebody who hasn't changed his name, and he's up here right now. Tom,
Hello, Joe.
what's going on, Tom?
Well, they gave him 10 for 2.
What else can the bastards do?
Right.
Well, I gotta say, you sound louder than usual today, too.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that.
Yeah, so that's good.
All right.
So, okay. So, what can we talk about? What do you want to discuss? Anything on your mind?
Well, I started watching the first. I watched like the first 5 minutes of your review of the 1-to-1 documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
I'll finish watching it. Later tonight. So
yeah, I liked it. And there's things I forgot to say. I was telling some on Tone. Nobody knows this. I'm going to say it here from my channel as well. I was on Tone's before.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the video, one of the first, when you see a crowd,
right,
get ready. One of the first people you see, and I'll explain all this how it's true, is Mark Lapidus in the audience, and he's waving a tambourine because in the original release of this, 1986. There's a line where John says, "I'm glad you got your tambourines good." Vito's going like this, right? And you know it's him. But here's the thing: I can't stand when you watch movies and people say, "Oh, it's so and so. Look who it is," because it looks like them. In fact, just last night, a young girl sitting next to me, I heard her say to her mom, "It's Julian" at the beginning at the concert, but it wasn't Julian.
Right.
Anyway. But back in the day, Mark Lapidus and the Beatlefest people made a notation that Mark appears in it. It's him. He verified it, so it is him. And it's at the big. It's like one of the first person you see, practically.
Okay, I'll have to keep my eye open for that when I get the physical release.
And if you ever see, I don't know if you ever go back and look at photos from the fest in the 70s, like 74. 75. He wears glasses and he's got like longer black hair, But what were we saying? Oh yeah, so you started watching the review. Yeah, I had a lot to say about it. I liked it overall. I thought it was very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
It blew me away. The big screen, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and then obviously the star of the show is the transfer. And the audio. That's definitely the star of the film.
No doubt about it. I agree with you, and it makes me want to see the whole concert like that. Although the thing I'm noticing, and I've mentioned this before, they have "Well" up on the Lennon page, if anybody else, and that's not in the movie. That's going to be later on when they put the whole thing out in October. Right. But they did that split screen style, a lot of shots, and I generally don't like that. I didn't like the roof like that either when they did it, and it's not the movie, the 1-to-1 movie documentary doesn't have the clips like that. I wonder if the whole thing's going to have split screens when they put it out.
So. Okay, look forward to that. That's going to be a no-brainer buy right there. That's first day purchase for me.
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to that, and I don't know what else I could say really about. It's funny. I've said on the other show I was up with Kyle. Actually, we were up on
Yeah.
with Tonandi popped on for a while, right? And I was just saying how much I really had a good time, and with the concert songs. Usually with Paul, like I'm like I don't want to see Paul do Beatles all the time. I want to see Paul, do solo tracks I haven't heard before.
Right.
Just when I was first excited if he would do Hey Jude or something in the early days. I love Come Together is always my favorite on that because you don't. How often are you going to see John Lennon on stage in a concert do a
Right.
Beatles?
Right.
And that's my favorite number, even though it's a. I don't. Cause I always say, "Well, that's preface at the beginning," because I don't want people to think, "Oh, sure, the Beatles." It's always all the people want is the Beatles, but for him to do it, it's great. He goes and originally, I hope it comes out in the package. It was originally in the 1986 version. He says, "We'll go back in the past just once."
Once,
He
yeah,
goes
right,
this. Like he's kind of like, I guess he screws it up or something. Oh, I hope you have that line. Nearly got all the words right too.
right. Well,
Yeah.
well, not that's not wasn't 100% accurate because didn't he do a couple covers that they did as a Beatle that he did as a Beatle too on that set list?
Cover songs like Hound Dog, you mean stuff like that?
Yeah,
He did Hound Dog. I'm trying to think, did he do anything else?
I have to go back and I was telling Andy, it's just like I think I've only seen that concert ever once.
Oh,
And it might have been like when it was on VH1. It
but,
was might have been the only time that I really actually saw the one-to-one show.
well, it's probably. I think it's still on YouTube. But at this point, he waited so long. Well, you might as well wait for the
Right.
other one.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm not going to bother watching it until the till that set comes out. So
Another point that I wanted to make that I forgot to make everywhere on Tone's show, and I forgot it in my video, was, and I said this in '86. When he's singing at the mic changes. It goes
mm,
from a bare microphone with the
right,
round end to, I don't know if a filter or like a foam over it.
right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And
Yeah,
it changes from sometimes it changes from shot to shot. I thought that used to be how you identify the afternoon from the evening. And I noticed in Cold Turkey, at the end when they have a montage of him just screaming at the end or whatever, it goes back and forth to clips of him and
right.
clips of things back and forth, and the mic changes during the screaming. It's two performances together. Nobody ever really picks up on it.
Mm.
Um,
I love the one thing that got the biggest laugh. I don't know at your theater was the biggest. I mean, it wasn't the flies. I mean, the flies were
oh yeah,
funny.
okay,
But the biggest laugh was when they decided that they were going to do the Free the People tour, and they were
yeah,
going to bail out like 500, the first 500 people in the jails that whatever state they're in during
yeah.
that tour. People were laughing their ass off.
No, nobody laughed, and I was like, "Oh, come on, man!"
Yeah,
I was like, "That
yeah.
was ridiculous." But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it was just like a little petty crime or whatever, and they just didn't have enough money to pay the bail, I mean, maybe. But it just really, I was really on the fence with that. I mean, I guess that's kind of cool, but listen, I mean, no crime is equal, So,
this is
but
true.
anyways, go ahead.
No, this is true. No, you're right.
Yeah.
I heard all about this big show they're doing tomorrow. I think what they're talking about, right on two legs, maybe whatever they're doing. Andy's on his show.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, on Sundays him, Tone and Kyle they do like a kind of like a mixtape, if you will, if you want to call it that, of just McCartney, whether it's a theme or whatnot. So yeah, they have a lot of fun doing that.
Gary, with respect, I couldn't care less about a collection of Beatles oldies. I hate that album, and I
You're
hate
no
the.
Beatles fan. You're no Beatles fan.
Yeah, I'm an honest Beatle fan.
Uh
I'm not.
huh. Yeah.
I'm a fan, not a sycophant.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. John was absolutely he was nervous, and at the end, Instant Karma says, "We'll get it right next time." And
Mm,
after the first song, he says, "Welcome to the rehearsal." Yeah, he's always been like that. That's why I love when they say he's an egotist. He's got a big, he's always putting himself down. He writes, "I'm a loser." He's crying for help. I feel so insecure. He puts his guitar
mother.
down.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get it, and he doesn't have confidence.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the Willowbrook stuff was. I mean, I was. I
Oh, it
had
was.
tears. I had tears.
Oh yeah,
It was. I mean, that the environment they were in, and then seeing them get to be out in the park, outside, with other people
yeah, that was good.
was really
I,
touching. Yeah.
and I don't want to say too much because maybe if you see my
Yeah.
video, it's at the end. But there was, like I said, there was a mother and daughter sitting next to me. Well, I'm
Yeah.
talking about it now. The woman was originally from Colombia, and they're Beatle fans, and her daughter is a Beatle fan.
Mm.
And I say more about it near the end of the video. But anyway, we got to talking like 20 minutes after. And I had just been saying to my friend Robert, who I went to see the movie with, I said, every time I see a movie like this one, and whether I see Daytime Revolution or something, or any of these John and Yoko movies, when you see John and hear John talking, I don't want the guy's not a saint because it's not the word. He's a likable guy in a lot of
Right.
ways. He jokes,
Yeah.
he's helping people. He's concerned. He doesn't want the violence. He says, "Let's not. If it's violent, I'm
Well,
out."
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Which he did. He got out of. He didn't go to that Miami rally because he knew it was gonna get rough, and he did. They didn't want any part of that.
yeah,
And I'm glad they didn't go.
I love that
Yeah.
and he kind of disowned all that with
Yeah.
Rubin
Yeah.
and all. And then
Yep.
the thing about I remember there was one time he was saying about the people in prison. I think he said, and most of them are black. He said
Mm.
like he has a heart for that. So I mean, this baloney. Look, and he's the first one. I'm not saying the guy is not a saint. I'd hate him if he was a saint, but the
Right.
guy just turned him into the devil. He doesn't care. He's me.
No, that's why these kind of documentaries are important. They're shedding light on Lennon, the real person.
Yeah,
And you're not getting smear pieces that you'll see in the National Choir or whatever. So
yeah. What I
these
like
are
about it. Go ahead, I'm
these are
sorry.
the things. Sorry, these are the things that younger people should be seeing.
Yeah.
About John Lennon.
What I like about it is it's not, and people could say, well, obviously they're going to skew it to make it look like he's favorable. It's his words, it's his
It's his words.
presence.
You're right. Yeah.
And also, same with Yoko, because again, I'm like, I was amazed by that, how Yoko, they show you how much she's hated. I never knew, and I didn't say this in the damn review either. I never knew that it bothered her that much. I used to think she kind of like let it go in one ear and out the other,
Right.
and
Right.
didn't care what she was saying a lot about how hurt she was by this bullshit crap.
Oh, and she comes out looking fair. To me, she came out looking favorable. I
Yeah,
just every time I learn more and more about her, I'm just more in awe of her. I love
yeah,
that exhibition, like it's kind of like the unfinished,
yeah,
exhibition. I just thought that was great, and I love the apple and the thing, and it's souring. You know what I mean? It's getting browned.
yeah.
So I thought that
I mean,
was really
okay,
cool too.
it's a little extreme for a lot of people. Let's face it,
Right.
avant-garde, a little. But that song that I didn't know, what she says at the age of 39 or something,
Right. Yeah, at
and
the age of 39. Yeah.
and then I found out it's a song on Approximately Infinite Universe,
Right.
which a lot of people love.
Right.
And I say this, I'll say it again, folks. You don't have to like Yoko singing. A lot of people don't, but she doesn't scream all the time. You might
No.
not even like her regular, normal, patient singing voice, but the
Right.
words in the song, what she's saying, the poetry, the
Yeah.
feeling, that's beautiful. It's great. It's from the heart.
And the other thing too is just like because right before they show her singing "Don't Worry, Kyoko," they're talking about her situation with that.
Right.
And you get more emotional, seeing her then doing that song, if you want to call it that, and
Yeah.
her performing and her, all I could do is just feel for her, and I understand, her art better, and it's one of the things I just appreciate, really, really, really appreciate her as a artist and as a thinker, as an individual. I just think she's an awesome person.
Glad to hear you say that, and that's where I feel the same. By the way, I said that in my that I remember to say in my review about "Don't Worry, Kyoko" in the
Right,
context of everything. It works so
right,
great.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say, I forgot with the woman and her daughter. During our conversation, she said, "I have such a different feeling for Yoko now and respect
Right.
after this. I had no
Right.
idea. I believe all this stuff." And again, just like with John, it's her words, it's her actions, it's her thoughts. You know,
Right.
are there recordings of her yelling at staff or something like that? I'm sure there are.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
We all have bad days.
yeah.
I have bad days. I'm sure you've had bad days.
You think?
Everybody has bad days. So, but yeah, that's one thing I did want to do is I thought about doing that is trying to talk to people as they're coming out and see if they record them and see if they're what their thoughts of Yoko were before the film and what their thoughts of Yoko was after seeing this film.
That's an interesting. I didn't record them.
Yeah.
I talked to them a long time. I hope I told them about my channel. I hope they're gonna
Right.
maybe make comments or something. But hello, Penny Lane.
Penny Lane.
Sorry, it took a while.
Hmm.
What did Tom get? Nothing, right?
Well, here's the funny thing is I did go to a record store last night about 10:30 at night, and there was already about 10 people in line. And a little later I learned it was all women, so maybe I should have stayed because they could have been there for Taylor Swift or the Wicked soundtrack, you know. But you know what? The last couple times that I did an all nighter really kicked my ass. Really kicked my ass, and plus I had to work today. So I'll get the stuff. I got I'm in line to get a All Things Must Pass from somebody I know.
Oh, I didn't know you were getting that. I don't. You are.
Oh no, that was the main thing I wanted was that
Oh,
All
what is
Things
it?
Must Pass Zoetrope. But obviously I still want the Power to the People EP. And I want to get I do want to get that Be Here Now 12-inch single as well. So, but no, I didn't get anything this time. This was probably the first record store day I missed since 2015, where there was stuff that I wanted. But yeah, 2015 was my first with the Family Way
Mhm.
LP release.
Yeah, Tom. What is the one Beatles song you don't like and why?
Well, it's Yellow Submarine. Yeah, Yellow Submarine. Just don't like it. Don't like the lyrics. Don't like the goofiness of it. Don't like the sound effects. I
Oh
just,
my God! I never knew this about you. That's
I
horrible.
just, I've just grown tired of Yellow Submarine, and I think it ruins a perfect album.
Oh, I don't think so. But anyway, it was number one, buddy. So I don't think so. But anyway, no, I mean, but
No,
anyway,
yeah. I think that wasn't that the B side of Eleanor Rigby, or wasn't the
Eleanor, I think Eleanor Rigby was the B side. Wow,
or was the B side? Yeah.
Eleanor Rigby was the B
Right.
side.
No, I think
But
Yellow Submarine would have been number two. I think. But anyways,
anyway, well, I can. Well, I can't really understand it, but in a way, because I say, I pick on stuff like "We All Stand Together" because
right.
it's a kid song and all this stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love that it's something. Yeah, if it could be for kids, and it's something just totally different from what they're doing, like a fairy tale
Yeah.
story. At the time, I don't think they were really doing anything like that, unless I'm just forgetting something. And I like that it's Ringo, gives Ringo the vehicle,
Right.
you
Right.
know. And you didn't ask me, Dino, but I don't think this sounds like a cop out. You know me, I'll be sure to tell you what I don't like. There's no Beatles song I could say I don't like. Now, the closest I come is Revolution 9, and that's not really a song, it's a montage, experimental
Yeah.
track. And as such, I'm glad it exists because it's part of the White Album's all over the map.
It's an experience. Yeah, it's definitely an experience that you can only get on the White Album, obviously. But it's I can't imagine the White Album now without Revolution 9.
Yeah,
You know.
I don't even. The only time I listen to it is when I'm listening to the whole White Album,
Right.
usually in the
Right.
long car drive, and
Yeah.
I don't skip it. And then I think the song "Goodnight" after it is so much more fulfilling after you've been through Revolution
Mm.
9. Here we go. Okay, Christopher. The negative criticism, John, comes from people reading books written by people who don't know their subject personally, choosing
Well,
to believe what they read. Hmm.
Well, I mean, yes and no, but it's also the people they get to interview for the books. Say like someone like Jeffrey Giuliano, who was
Oh, forgive me.
pressured into because listen, he contacted me to come on Two Legs to talk about why he's so criticized, and he wanted to say his side of the story. But in the long run, eventually he came out and he said that. That the publisher pressured him into writing more dirt because dirt sells.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear you. Well, yeah, yeah. The books and stuff, sure, but it's become people on the internet. The internet has fueled a lot of this. Again,
Right,
I'll give you a quick example. Just recently, I was on Facebook. I see a picture, just a photo on some John Lennon page of John and Yoko and Sean in Japan. So I say, let me just check and every time I do, this is going to be my go-to example. Right away, it's like, oh, sure, they could spend time with Sean, but he never spent
right,
time like this with Julian, right? Okay, next comment. Look at
right.
Yoko. Can't she ever smile? She's never smiling. What's wrong with this witch? Next one says, well, you got to understand, and probably, he's serious, I think. He says, probably, John wasn't the nicest guy. He probably, right before the picture snapped, I'll bet you John said some nasty remark or something against her, and so she wasn't happy or smiling. And this is what you get when you try to get into Lennon. If you're on there
Mhm.
and you're just like, I mean, I get this all the time. That's why once upon a time I was going to do a live, sort of like how Two Legs is about Paul
I
mostly.
I wish you would. I wish you would have done that. I really do.
Well, I won't because of that very basic reason. It
Mhm.
used to be anytime you talked about John, you had to deal with Yoko BS. Now, anti Yoko BS.
Right.
Now you got to deal with anti John BS as in addition to anti Yoko stuff, and I'm not going to go through that every day, constantly. It's enough
Right.
here.
I mean, you put yourself in his shoes. You're living the rock star life. Everything is handed to you. You got so many temptations. Um, and naturally he took a lot of them. But again, but as Joe said, a lot of times it does get exaggerated. A lot of people don't understand the person. They don't understand his history and why he is or was the way he was, and the way he was able to talk about himself and admit his faults. And the younger people won't you know do the homework, unfortunately, or
No, they
even
don't.
people, even older people won't do the homework.
One person on I forget 1 to 1. If I don't know if you ever checked them out. Yeah, again, I
Right.
think it's Facebook. Sometimes I go over there and check it out. It'll be like an ad for the 1 to 1 film, and it'll be like, I love John, but hard pass. I'm not going. Oh, I can't stand Yoko. I'm not going to deal with her. Blah blah blah. And then so
Right.
the one guy says that child abuser can go bleep himself or what, something like that. A child abuse? No,
Right.
where does that come from now? And stuff like that. And I'm just so tired of the exaggerations of it. Hey, look, it is what it is, and I hope it gets better someday.
Yeah.
And I hope that, excuse me, that Sean, if he's got to like do things to kind of, when I say whitewash, that makes it sound like too much of a fake job painting over. But try to like restore the good quality, show the good qualities as well as the
Right.
things people don't like.
Well, that's what part of this documentary does. It
Right.
shows his good qualities.
And I feel that with everything. Every time I watch, whether it was Daytime Revolution or anything, I get
Right.
that feeling.
Yeah.
Or the U.S. versus John Lennon or
Anytime
Lennon.
that you can see the full thing in context and not just bits and pieces, it definitely helps shed a different light.
And yes, Charlie, this is a fair enough, as they say. I mean, there you go. But see, when people say I just can't do it.
Do what though? Do
I
what?
wonder if it's I won't do it.
Right.
I just won't do it. I have this preconceived thing about her, and there's no way I'm going to let anything go. I mean, I don't understand. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I love the fact that they showed Yoko singing her verse of "Luck of the Irish."
Right.
You can actually see her singing, and she sings well.
That's not bad.
Um, no,
That's good.
no, yeah.
I agree with you on that one. Yes, I do.
Actually, the one thing I got a good laugh was the guy had there was the commercial for the world's smallest computer, and it was like $345 or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How about when they showed you people they're making like people robots? They were trying to like
Yeah,
they're
right.
doing stuff like that now. AI
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, along with her avant-garde songs, Yoko has some beautiful songs with great melodies and meaningful lyrics. They
Yes,
do. She
absolutely,
does, and John
absolutely.
liked a lot of her lyrics. And Imagine was inspired by a book Grapefruit, which had imagining all
Right.
these things that kind of influenced it.
If people would just take 5 minutes, you know, their whole outlook could change.
Yeah, go with an open mind for God's sake. Unless you just go, there's some people they just can't stand the sound of somebody's voice or the way they look. Their looks,
Right,
it's just hard to deal with. That stuff you almost can't help with some people. I guess. I guess. Uh,
right.
this is a good idea. I see an opening for a young entrepreneur. Get paid to queue for record store day. That's
Mm.
not a bad idea. Well, no, but it costs you more money. What's the point if you got to pay? You got to spend $100 for a record that costs $25 or whatever the price is.
Mm.
I just think we're tired after 60 years of Yellow Submarine. Seems like a big percentage of their merchandise is also directed to that movie. Well, that's what I think
Yeah,
yesterday, Michelle.
right. I mean, you do see you tend they do license out the Yellow Submarine thing a bit too much. But yeah, I mean that's a great opportunity to introduce younger generations to the Beatles. Um, I have no problem with that.
The Manson add to the
Yeah,
mystique of the item? I guess so. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Did you see the George Zoe trope in person today? Yes, I did. Yes, I did have second thoughts. That's what happened to me is that I went there and when I saw that they had it and it was $89.99. It was $90. One copy left when I got there, and I was like, "Oh man, should I get this?" I'm like there in the moment of having it all.
Right.
I
Yeah.
was like maybe, but then I said no. I really didn't. Said I didn't
Do you
want it.
remember what they were charging for it?
$90, 89.99.
89.99. Okay.
What prices have you heard?
82 pounds in the UK, and then nine. I say a couple $99.
I saw the remaster. What's Christopher? Oh, that's later. Okay, hold on a minute. Mr. Moonlight sucks in my book. Well, that often is considered the worst Beatles song, even though it's a cover. I know if Doc Dacus was here, he wouldn't like that because he loves Mr. Moonlight, and I like it too. I know it's not my favorite song of theirs, even near my favorite, but I like it. I like John's voice, and I like the. I don't mind that little or whatever that is. That is an organ solo or whatever. I don't mind it. It only lasts 8 seconds or something. Something I could deal with it. I saw the remastered Let It Be on Disney Plus. To me, it was done so well you wouldn't think you're watching something that's over 50 years old. Yeah.
But it's really you when you think about it and how we were able to watch those bootlegs of Get Back or Let It Be. Um, it's just it just you just see it in a whole new light. It just I really think that people thought it was such a downer just because of the degrading of the quality of the transfer as the bootlegs got older and older and older.
Mm.
And the image just got worse and worse. That really had an effect on people when they watched the film.
I don't think it was just that personally because it's part of it for me. But when I saw it, I didn't see it in 1970, but when I got around to seeing it, it just seemed miserable to me at the time. Now that I've seen Get Back, I have a whole
Yeah.
different view of it. So now
Right.
when I Let It Be, it's not so bad. I know, and I still believe it. I know Michael Lindsay Hogg doesn't said he didn't do this, that he was trying to tell the story of the split, why they broke up. And the biggest scene that gets me, and I'll say it again because not everybody's heard every story a million times, is the
Yeah.
scene that you see in Let It Be where Paul's trying to convince John, the two, supposedly, if you watch just Let It Be, it's just the two of them face to face, and convince him, we should try to do it again and go out and play gigs and stuff. And John's just not answering him, and he's like falling asleep, or
Right.
he's like get lost kind of thing. All right, now that's deliberately what he included, where we see the same scene from a wider shot or the same session in a wider shot, and you get back, and everybody's there. I think George Martin's there. All the Beatles are there, and John is very eager, and he's the one who's saying, "Let's do it. Let's just do it. What
Right.
we have. Let's do the numbers with." And Paul's actually, I think, isn't he a little
Well,
reserved?
by the time they get to the actually performing on the roof, then yeah, he does start getting cold feet.
Yeah.
Not cold turkey, but cold feet.
Yeah, and so I'm like, but that's a great example of how you can edit something in such a way to make
Right.
it look like John's pissed. There's nothing to do with him. And the same thing with the scene where George and Paul are going at it. Supposedly, when you see the whole context, George is trying to work with him and stuff a little bit, and it's I think, and I don't think Paul. I was always on Paul's side of that debate or whatever you want to call it. That he wrote the song. He doesn't like them echoing the phrases with the guitar in "Hey Jude," and I agree with Paul. In that scene, I'm on Paul's side. The way it appears in "Let It Be," I'm like, I'm sorry, George. Don't get so childish about it. But you watch the whole thing, and it's
Right.
not that bad. I don't think.
Right.
Uh, uh, Matthew Smith.
Hey.
But they really, it's tough sometimes, guys. It's tough. No, I did a little video. Yeah, I got one record store release. This one here, "Be Here Now," 12-inch single. "Be Here Now." George Harrison on one side, Beck on the other side, and that's the only thing I picked up. Um,
Yeah. So I ended up getting Dylan tickets the other day. Well, I got them yesterday.
yeah,
Dylan's going to be here in Michigan on a Wednesday, so I I was like, okay, I'm you know, I'll get the stuff eventually, from Record Store Day. I really do want to see Dylan. It's a bucket list thing. So I use the extra money that I usually have to get records, and I just use that to get the Dylan tickets. But then, once I saw people's pictures this morning, and videos, I was just like, I don't care now. Now I have to stop.
what happened? I know it. I know it.
Yeah, yeah.
Who's GG? I lose
Oh, it's
track.
Jeffrey Giuliano, and yeah, that was the rumor that he did die in 9/11, but it's obviously not true.
The White Album would be incomplete without Revolution 9. I
Yeah,
concur. I think it should have been followed by the simple piano version of Good Night instead of the version that John. Well, no, I like it, but that's me, my opinion. So, um, I don't know every Zeppelin song. I just know that in general, I like Led Zeppelin, and I
mm.
can't think of one. I'm not wild about Hot Dog, maybe.
Yeah. The hot dog is like it just stands out as one that I'm not never been the biggest fan of.
Oh, let me do this first. I'll do my George Burns impersonation. I can't do the cigar. You know, talk to my doctor. He said, "Is it true?" Do it again. Fuck. Sorry. The guy
Oh, great!
said to
Now you're
me,
gonna take the video down.
"No, I'm not. No, I won't."
Uh,
He said to me, "Hey, George, is it true that you smoke like 10 cigars a day?" I said, "Yeah, it's true." "Is it true that you drink like 5 or 6 martinis every day?" I said, "Yeah, it's true." "You make love to beautiful women all the time?" "Yes, it's true." "What does your doctor think of all of these?" "Tell him my doctor's dead." Anyway, I never thought he was great, but I liked him all right. He was all
best
right.
best thing about that he ever did was smoke good cigars.
Oh well, he lived long enough. Hey, he took the chance and he got to beat
He
the
got to
odds.
100. He got to 100.
But don't say that to George or or James Franciscus, the actor, was 50,
Right,
also
right.
58, I think. Anyway, but so is each calzone. Uh, Okay, this is a good point, but yeah, it comes up so often. I'm so tired of talking about it. But how about when John was playing with Chuck Berry and the sound man finally cut Yoko's mic? Chuck's facial expression was priceless. Yes, it's a funny moment with Chuck's face, and I think that was wrong. I think it was wrong of Yoko to do that in there. So as much as I
Yeah.
defend him, I could criticize too when I think, and I don't think John minded. I thought he probably thought it was cool, but who knows?
No, but I think that might have been one moment where Yoko should have known that that was like a moment with for John. I mean, he's there, he's performing with one of his, childhood heroes. And it's just like another bit in the rock and roll circus, where they're jamming with the violinist, and then Yoko starts doing her screaming, and the violinist, he makes a facial expression too, like, what the
Yeah,
hell,
yeah,
but again, I mean, but there, you saw John kind of like egging Yoko on to do it, as well. So, obviously he was all for it.
yeah. That's when he always, he thinks she's so great doing that in the middle of something, and so as I say, I just got done defending them, and I always will,
Right.
but I call it like it is. At times, not so much. $99.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
for the All Things Must Pass.
at the record store day go today. I got what I wanted is the main thing, and it was a miserable, disgusting, rainy, cold, winter-like day morning. Waiting online for a couple hours. I like the Hollies version of Mr. Moonlight, which I don't think I've heard. First time I heard Mr. Moonlight, I hated it. Now, all these years later, I like it. Oh, that's good.
Hmm.
Uh, I miss Record Store Day a decade or so back where the albums cost 15 to
Yeah.
21.
Yep.
Double
Yep.
albums
Yep.
plus 69.
Yeah. I mean, that's a shame. I mean, all those Beatle albums when they were came out, or when they were reissued, they were like 21, 20, 19, 20, $21. Now as albums are coming out, they're 35, damn near pushing $40, for a single record.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, I think the Lennon one was 25.99 the EP, which I didn't think was too
Mm,
bad, but I don't know. Well,
mm.
hello, Eric. Is Paul McCartney your favorite musician?
Yes, yeah. And what gave it away?
uh, it's the Hammond organ. Yeah, John's vocals good on Mr. Moonlight. What's the worst Beatles song? Go. Well, you just said one. Is that the worst Beatles song? Or just your favorite, least favorite? What do
It's
you
my
think?
it's my least favorite, but I mean, look, if everything is on an album, it's a song, okay? So, so you can have cop outs. I think cop outs are fine. Wild Honey Pie, I think it's terrible, okay? It shouldn't be on the album. Um, uh, Maggie May, I've never been the biggest fan of. And I know Dig It, I've never been the biggest. I like the longer version of Dig It,
Yeah.
but the version that just appears on Let It Be, um, I'm not the biggest fan of. Um, but yeah, but these little
You love
side,
Her Majesty.
Her Majesty's great. Her Majesty's great.
Yeah,
Now, but I am happy that they left it out of the medley. I don't think it would have worked, if it was in
yeah.
the medley like the original intentions.
Um, I go through my speech that Tom just said. I call them a cop out. I don't like to because to me, like some of them are songs. Dig It is just a snippet of a song. It's just
Yeah,
like going into a movie and taking a minute
right.
out of a movie.
Flying,
So
I never been the biggest fan of Flying.
yeah. I'm not a big fan of flying. And then again, it's an instrument. But then again, I can listen to all these things. And
Right.
Wild Honey Pie, I disagree with you. I mean, I don't think it's great. But that's what I like about the White Album, as Paul would say. I like all these little things that are on it thrown in there.
Yeah.
I have fun with that, breaking up the stuff for a minute. And the same thing with Can You Take Me Back? And
Yeah.
anything
Right
that's
before right before Revolution 9. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I always go with because I could easily say Revolution 9. Oh no, wait a minute, that's just a song really. Oh, I'll just go for one of the short ones. I'll pick "Dig It" or Maggie May.
Right.
Why don't we do it? Why don't we do it in the road? Could be one of them. But is that I mean, I guess it's a song. Why? But I always feel like if I say why don't we do it in the road, that's an easy. I try to, for me, I try to say, well, out of those songs that are decent lengths for songs, 2 3 minutes or whatever, which ones? And then I pick all together now.
Right.
I think I just I think it serves its purpose in Yellow Submarine well. They're all together now. I'm not. I
I'll
can't.
go. I'll give you a hot take too, and tell you that I've never been the biggest fan of "All You Need Is Love."
No, interesting.
I've never been a big fan of that song.
I may be kind of tired of it now, but
Yeah.
I do love it. But I'm kind of tired of it. Like a lot of Beatles songs, really. After work, I went to a good record store. They didn't have any more copies of "Power to the People." What was the official price of it? It was $25.99 where I saw it. You know, it was weird because there's a whole story with that too. I already had my copy. They only got two copies in my store. Robert
Mm,
S. was behind me, several people behind me, and they let in three at a time, so he didn't get in. He says, "If you see the Lennon thing, pick it up." So I said, "All right, they're probably going to be gone." I said, "They only had two." I didn't need it because the Lennon's estate
right.
sent me. So I get in there, and all of a sudden I hear a girl say, "Oh, is that the John Lennon or something?" I'm like, "Why? Where?" I thought she was going to take it. Turns out she found one that was misfiled in the wrong letter or something. It was in the wrong place
Mm,
alphabetically, where it should have been. So I thought somebody was looking for that. So I was able to say, "Give it. I'll take it." She didn't want it. She was just saying she saw it. So I held it till Robert came in. So I
gotcha.
gave it to him. That's why I
Right.
did that.
Right.
But two copies. Eh. Anyway, where are we going here? Sunshine Boys. Thank you. Where would you recommend too? That song. Whole lot of Yoko. Yeah, which one's a whole lot of Yoko? What
No,
is
that's the one I'm talking about with the violinist, and
it?
then and the Rock and Roll Circus, the Rolling
Okay.
Stones Rock and Roll Circus. It's called A Whole Lot of Yoko.
It's been a while since I've seen it. And I like the Stones on that. I think Mick Jagger once said he didn't like his performance in it or something.
Mm.
I don't mind it. I like it. Yeah, yeah, I know. We know. Well, these people that are just freaking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna eventually have to do that. Unfortunately, but
With,
I mean that was my decision. Because I didn't, like I said, I didn't. I ended up
oh,
not
buy it.
staying. Yeah, I didn't. I ended up not staying overnight. So,
Uh, do
which
either
by
of
the
you?
way, somebody said earlier that he didn't think any record was worth staying overnight.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I disagree with that.
I disagree too.
Yeah.
Depending if you can't get it anywhere else, or if you do
Right.
get it, it's going to be five
There were
times the price.
there were a lot of instances where I was first in line, and if I wasn't first in line, I might not have gotten it because they only had one copy of things that I wanted.
Hmm. Yeah, I watch some
Yeah.
people have stuff like that. Yeah, I mean,
Yep. I watch people with other movie channels.
okay, I met Pete Best 2 to 3 weeks ago. He just retired from public appearances. Yep, still shocked. I saw one of his final shows. I'm glad I never saw him perform, but I'm glad I got to meet him at a show.
Mm. Cool.
Jack Benny, yeah, take him or leave him.
Wasn't he
But,
the original Tonight Show host?
Jack Parr, I think.
Oh, Jack Parr. Okay.
They will be going down within the next few weeks, I think, if you feel like holding out. I think a lot of things are going to be going down if you just hold out. What do you think about that? About the records, though? Will they be going down?
It's possible. It's possible. Just depends on the demand for them.
Where would you recommend to purchase the John album for a good price?
Probably eBay now.
I don't know about a good price.
eBay.
What prices? I heard
Yeah.
70 and up.
I think somebody I know got one for $45 this morning.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
I won't say any names.
Oh, this thing again. Oh boy. I agree with Joe about George not being a great guitarist. What do you think, Tom? And then I'll kind of fix my answer on that.
I very much believe that George Harrison should be on any top 20 greatest rock and roll guitarist of all time list. Um, was he the greatest of all time? No, but I don't think he was the worst. I think he's obviously there's evidence of him, not being that great during recording sessions. Okay, but when it mattered, he was fantastic.
I would go along with that pretty much. See, the thing about with me is that yeah, I would say I'd put him in the top 20. Would I put him in the top 5 or 10?
No,
I don't think so. And I think with George, he had to work it out. If he
yeah,
gave him the time to work out a brilliant guitar solo or something, he could be masterful, like something maybe or something.
oh yeah,
Um, uh, my girlfriend was she's a singer, but she's not. Well, she's a musician too to a point, but not. She plays guitar and stuff. But she says like, and I love her. She was talking. I was saying how she said. I was asking her, what do you think George didn't do so well? She doesn't think he's a great guitarist. And she said, well, and I love her is not. I said, I love that guitar bit that George does in the middle. And she said, yeah, but he had an opportunity there. This is what she said. Don't shoot the messenger. He had an opportunity there to do something interesting and inventive with it. Instead, he's just really playing the melody.
yeah,
Dun, 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 dun,
right,
dun. And I'm like, I love it. I think that's all it calls for. But I always figure, like, I heard so many outtakes of George, the early ones, where he's screwing up a lot.
yeah.
And even there's one with one after 909 when he did it
Well,
in
that
'63.
right. The big example is of I have a feel. I had I've got a feeling.
Yeah,
Whenever he's doing the
yeah, he's
that
trying
part.
to
I
get
mean,
him to do that.
he could never the first 20, 30 times he couldn't get it right. So
Yeah. And was it John? I remember seeing in Let It Be where you see that, and John's trying to do it. I wonder if
yeah, but I think it was George too.
but the thing is, I was saying about one of the outtakes. It's a pretty horrible solo in the early 1963 version of One After 909, and one of them, John, could be heard on one of the takes. The end saying, "What kind of solo is that?" He says at the end of it, and then there's I always say with the BBC. There's a great song that they never recorded, but I love my favorite BBC track, and it's "I'll Be on My Way."
Mm,
I love this song. The guitar is he just screws up the guitar solo. It's a simple solo, from what I know. So things like that, And then he plays Japan, and he's got Eric Clapton to play the guitar, and he probably there. I think Eric Clapton was probably there for support as much as
yeah,
support, moral support,
probably
because
right.
George play stuff himself. I mean, I,
Well, George would very much rather just play to the song and let somebody else kind of like shine musically. Other artists, So I think that it was he probably would have only done that Japanese tour if Eric and his band went along with him.
Right, I agree. And I'm just thinking because I want to cover everything I can think of with this. In Get Back, there's a scene where he's talking about the fact that he can't do these. Eric can do this or something. He's talking about Eric Clapton, but how he can do this, and it's not his thing. So I think George could be brilliant. I love a lot of stuff he does on guitar. I love the Beatles, and he plays the lead guitar on it on everything that I love. So I
Right,
love the sound of it. I like what I'm hearing. I just think it's a little bit labored for him. Maybe I don't know what.
right. Yeah, he had to work it out.
There is a longer version of "Can You Take Me Back," isn't there? On the outtakes, well, he doesn't say. I seem to
I'd have
remember.
to go back and look.
I don't think. I don't think he sings more lyrics, but I think it's just longer.
I'd have to go back and look.
But, yeah, it's been a while since I heard the White Album out bonus things. Okay with Maggie May, but yeah, Wild Honey Pie is my least favorite Beatles song. Lion is all right. I like probably 98%. Oh, can you take me back? I love that. It's so haunting. It's a
Mm,
beautiful. It's a beautiful sound. Yeah, exactly. Well, it works perfect at the beginning of for the beginning of Revolution, going into Revolution 9. That is. I dislike Hey Jude. So does the rest of my family. I think Hey Jude's a great song. The problem is that sometimes I get fatigued.
yeah, it's a great example of a song that you can get very much fatigued with.
Yeah. What's happening, Tom?
Hello.
Did you ever love something and get bored of it? You still recognize its greatest, but will never watch or listen to it again? Yeah, eventually, like with the Beatles, I go back. I still will play the stuff. I just, it's the ones I'm tired of. You
Yeah.
know, I'll still play it. I'm not going to not play the Beatles anymore. Do you remember back in the day they made enough records for everyone and then some, not this limited edition crap? Yeah, well,
Well, it's still it's we're still not in a place where the masses of people are buying records. You got to understand that. It's still a very limited amount of people are doing record store day. I mean, so it's not like the '80s anymore. So yeah, I mean, it's smart to only just press, you know, 3,000 of lesser artists who be lucky if they sell that out. I disagree with that comment. I just think it's a completely different time. I mean, streaming, as we all know, is king. So you really can't compare now to then when it comes to record store day.
mm,
If record store day existed in the '80s, yeah, they probably would make enough for everybody. You know,
mm. Yeah, I'm not. Blue Jay Way is way low on my list of favorite Beatles songs, but I'm okay with it. I like the song "Midsummer New York." I think it's a lot of fun. I think John's playing guitar. I really like that song. And Yoko, that's a song where Yoko goes a little crazy. She's singing, but she's kind of crazy. Some screaming too. I really like the song. Let's leave it at that. I love it. Tim Allen, what's the good word, Tim? Tim, you can,
hey
if you
Tim.
want to come up, you can. I'm not going to be on much longer. That's the only thing. So maybe I don't know. Let me know. Uh, about Yoko's avant-garde vocalizations, I accept it in its own context. Just doesn't fit with a Chuck Berry song. I imagine if here and everywhere someone started yodeling. No, I agree with you.
Right,
I
right. And
agree.
I think that's the point where Yoko should have realized, well, here's John, performing with, his one of his childhood heroes, and she should have just left it to that. Which, by the way, was not a good performance either.
Thank you, because that's something I forgot to mention. That
Right.
you do shows and you have things. I got to say this as soon as I get a
Yes.
chance. Then you forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, forget Yoko. Okay,
Right.
it was a historic moment, but they didn't. It wasn't very good. It
Yeah.
wasn't very good. The
It
performance piece.
wasn't a knockout performance. Go back and watch it.
So there you go. Obladi Oblada is the worst Beatles song. I mean, it's one of the ones I like. I like it, but I'm like, I get like hate myself for liking it. Kind of, it's just so freaking typical Paul. Like I thought that again. Here we go. We don't do John versus Paul. I love them both, but when I was watching One to One last night again, like I'm watching them do Mother, and Paul, I don't know if it's could or would never do that a song like
Mm.
that. Or and I can't
Right.
write a song like it was like a
I'm glad they left that alone. I'm glad that was one of the. I think that was like the one song where they didn't cut. I think that's
yeah,
they
yeah,
played all the way through, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy they left that one alone.
yeah. That's what I heard. They didn't like the
Yeah.
performance.
Well, they were very critical of themselves, and plus, the Who just blew everybody out of the water with their rendition of a quick one.
Now, see this kind of thing to say pretty horrible solo from a critic who doesn't play guitar. I don't go for that argument. Like when I don't believe the thing. For example, when somebody says, "I saw a movie the other day, terrible movie. Oh, it was an awful
Right.
movie." How many movies have you directed? Are you a director? How do you? Give me a break. I have ears, and my ears can tell me what sounds like a sour note or what sounds like somebody's like going, oh, whatever it is. Listen to I'll Be On My Way and tell me that's a good solo, okay?
Hey,
I can
yeah.
find anybody to anything, play this back, anything I said, and try to say it's
Anytime
wrong.
you put yourself out there, you open yourself up to criticism and praise.
I mean, I don't have to. I'm just, I can tell. I don't sing. I'm not a professional singer, but I can tell when somebody's singing, they go, and their voice like cracks. I can hear that. That's a weak argument. Note for rant video.
There you go.
Remind me of this one. Um, anyway, and I bent over backwards, giving George's his accolades too, in that last thing.
I mean, you
Now,
did a whole video just on his lyrics.
yeah, and I'm just thinking that George is the best lyricist in the Beatles, and I know it's a stretch, even over John, and that's a stretch, and it's hard for me to explain why that is, why I feel that way, because I think there's something about George that even all the years I've listened to him, I've just been listening to his solo music, and yeah, I listen to it, and I don't really stop to think really about what he's saying. Some of it's really deep stuff and interesting lyrics. Really profound lyrics, even in the Beatles.
Right.
I'm not saying "Don't Bother Me" or something like that, but help me. I want to tell you there's good, or something like. Although try thinking. What is it? The future still looks good. You got time to rectify
Right.
all that you should. There's a lot of good lines that he did in the Beatles and solo. I think.
Make love all day long. Making love, singing songs.
Yeah,
Great lyrics.
that's one of the best ones.
Yeah.
Uh, They'll fill you in with there's people
All
running
you
around,
sin you
threw
see.
you in the ground. They'll fill you in with all the sins you'll see. That's great.
I know the long, long, long is a track that a lot of people frown upon and from George, but I think it's brilliant, and I think the lyrics on Long, Long, Long are fantastic.
Yeah, I like that song. I do. I know Eddie Deezen. It's his worst song. He said, Beatles song.
Yeah, that's
uh,
right. I remember that. Yeah, in the video. Yeah.
uh, the, I've done that for a record store. They releases on eBay. Wait 6 months to a year, then buy them. Exactly. George's work enhanced the songs. Well, I kind of said that. I said that I like the Beatles songs and I like the guitars I hear on them. So it must.
Right.
I think. I think Paul is a better guitarist. What do you want me to tell you? I mean, I don't know. You know, he got stuck playing bass because nobody wanted to, and George wouldn't give up the guitar. But is that what's that funny like video? There's some kind of cartoon. I think it's
Mhm.
Taxman or something where they're cartoon Beatles and like George is struggling to
Right.
get it right, and then Paul just walks up, takes the guitar, and starts playing it, puts the guitar down, and walks away.
But
Stuff
but
like that.
yeah. But Paul also ruined his opportunity for that. Didn't they have? He played. He was doing lead guitar during the Decca auditions, and I think
I didn't know
he
about that.
I think I remember. I can't remember if it was the Decca or with Tony Sheridan or what. But he had an opportunity to, and he did play lead guitar, and he screwed it up. You know.
Last I heard, the mono box was going up in price.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going up. It's going up.
Yeah, well, George made that, so Paul even, said that.
Do 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 do.
Yeah, yeah. So what? Yeah, yes, Johnny Ramone. Everybody has opinions, and everybody's allowed to state them too.
That's that seems to be the always the comment everybody says when people disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it, and it's supposed to be, and everyone, and they all stink. Or something. Everyone's got them, and they stink. It's like an asshole.
Right. Yeah.
Well, my opinions don't stink, but my own may vary. Steve Allen was the first host of what became the
Thank
Tonight Show.
you. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, but it wasn't Steve Allen. It was Benny. What was it? Jack Benny.
Mm.
We were asking about. Yeah. I think George's guitar work was perfect for the Beatles. Well, I think it was. It's good, just the way Ringo's drumming is perfect for the Beatles. Yeah. And yes, I agree that "And I Love Her" wouldn't be the same without George's
Right.
contributions. I agree.
But
I
but
agree.
but the I mean, but just listen to the outtakes of him, trying to figure it out, and he can't, and it takes a while. It's
Yeah. Where
excuse
have I
me.
heard that? Is it from the outtakes or is it from the BBC? Somewhere, right? Somewhere I hear that it's a little sour.
Right.
Come on. Yeah, I think that George is great. That's one of George's best appearances ever. But yeah, like that's an example. Like the song, the recording of "Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby." I mean, I love George's guitar playing on that.
Mm.
I don't know if it's the most perfect, but I love whatever it is he's doing. I like it. That's a good question. All right, maybe I'll put him number 19 then. Paul. I don't know. Just comes more natural to him, I think, and he can really
Maybe,
shred.
but I wouldn't put Paul above George, and like and if I was to do like a top 20 uh greatest guitarist of all time, Paul wouldn't be in my top 20.
Mhm. Okay. Let's see. Let me just go down here. Some of it probably has to be limited edition of the record store day. Not like the general public's going to rush out to buy the Doors Strange Days demos.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some of these things are for hardcore fans, and then you got to ask yourself, how many hardcore fans of the Doors are there that would want outtakes? I mean, is 6,000 copies of something enough? To be spread out, over the country.
Um, okay, Tim's good in the gallery. I'm not going to be on that long, but I'm now free on Wednesdays if that's any better for the film show. Well, the best day for me is Tuesdays. I told you that. That'd be so great if we could do Tuesdays, but we can't. Well, at least Tom can't. And Wednesdays, aren't you sometimes busy on Wednesdays, Tom, too?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, honestly, got to
Well, you
plan
can't do every one.
on two legs. We got to plan when we can. Like, if I'm off Wednesday, I mean, that might be one of the days that
Yeah.
we record. Two leg show.
And we do have to get, I do want to get the film show going again, doing film, for anything for the movie channel, dormant movie
Yeah,
channel. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
yeah. I don't.
I'm sorry, I'm rushing too much. I try to get, just let me, don't hesitate to answer. Yeah, yeah, I don't think I'm going to sing. I agree with Tim Allen here. Miss you, Darren. Sing, please. I forgot to mention Maxwell Silverhammer too. Like I said, I defend that song all the time. I'm sorry. Some people have heard me say the same thing over and over, but some
Mm,
maybe haven't. I like the idea that it's a serial killer song told in like a la di da kind of way. It's kind of like kind of creepy.
yeah, but I mean, Paul doesn't get treated like. I mean, here's Paul being, doing, singing a violent song. That's so. I mean, maybe we should, criticize Paul for, you know, doing something violent. I
Well, you
mean,
got to
sure.
sugarcoat.
Maybe yeah, he sugarcoats it. He just doesn't come out and say, "I'd rather see you dead."
Exactly. That's not his line anyway, John. That's
Right? Exactly.
from an Elvis song.
Yeah, it's
But
an Elvis.
anyway, no, I'm sorry. No, I told you. Again, that's why I realized last night why John's my favorite Beatle and always is going to be.
Yeah.
As much as I think Paul is the best, most talented, and the best writer in a way. I just, it's hard. You listen to Come Together, then you listen to something. Then Maxwell Silverhammer comes on. You're like Paul again. That kind of thing. It just get. I mean, it's a good contrast, but man, or even back in the USSR, which is him, which is Paul.
Right.
And then you go into, and then you get Dear Prudence, and then eventually you get Glass Onion, whatever. I forget what order it's in, and then you then you get it. Oh, let the old let
Right.
It's like here we that kind of thing is. It doesn't mean it's not catchy. It doesn't mean it's not talented to be able to write a catchy melody like that. and I like it. I just sometimes I'm like shaking my head while I'm liking it. I like When I'm 64. I think it's a great song. You know,
Mm.
I like Your Mother Should Know. Oh, I
Mm.
love it. And it's not that, but don't mean anything. People. God, it's so crazy. Some people, not saying you, Tom, but it reminds me of other people. They're like, "Oh, did he really say that?" Oh, there were people that didn't want him to do this song "Getting Better." I remember on
Yeah,
a message board because it has that line. I used to be
yeah.
cool with my woman.
Goes by woman. Yeah.
Don't sing it anymore. It's like, come on, will you? It's just a song and a character. Don't mean nothing. Oy vey. There he is, beatly tone. Paul is probably more
Oh,
confident knocking out a solo off the cuff, but George has more finesse as a guitarist. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I don't. I'm not. This drives people crazy. I know it drives Lee crazy, but I did the best I could in saying I appreciate the sound of his guitar playing, too. Oh, I'm sorry. The 7LP Capital Mono box, not the Mono Beatles box. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know about that. And hello, Trish. What's going on?
hello, Trish.
Yeah, I know. This is
Yep. I
exactly.
think we all agree on that.
Not everybody does. I agree. There's a lot of Paul fanatics these days that think that Paul was the Beatles. They really do. I've heard them. You know,
Well,
they're wrong.
a lot of evidence, to back that theory.
Not really. Not at all. Let him play all that by himself without the other three there. Get out of here. He thinks so in his heart. He thinks so. Oh, I didn't say. We said hello. That's right. Hello. Where am I? I'm going back. What did you guys get today? Oh my lord. Okay. Trish, watch my video. Okay, if you don't. Anyway, I got this here. Record store day. There you go. Be here now, George Harrison.
I
That's all.
skipped it. I skipped it this year because I got Bob Dylan tickets. I got a ticket to go see Bob Dylan, which I can get those records. Yeah, I'm going to have to pay a little bit more money for them, but who knows how much longer we have to see Bob Dylan in concert. I have never seen Bob Dylan in concert, so I've been wanting to do that. So I chose to get, like I said, a ticket to see Bob Dylan. So I hopefully that answers your question there, Beatley Tone. I didn't get anything at the moment. Like I said, I got a ticket to see Bob Dylan instead. But those albums will be on eBay for the rest of my life. I can get them at any point in time.
I will not say that Paul is a better drummer than Ringo, though. I won't say that. But although it's hard to believe that he does a Band on the Run, for example, that album. To me, is that his Paul's best drumming? You think on Band on the Run, the album?
Um, that or 1985.
Well, I mean the album in general.
Oh yeah. In general, yeah, yeah. That's probably his best drumming. Yeah. Even even Chaos and Creation, he plays drums on that too, and I think songs like Fine Line are good
hmm.
with him as a drummer.
Yeah, I know. A lot of times, Paul calls John the leader. Yeah, I know. I know he does that. And John was like, no, no, not always, or something like that. I think he says, whatever. He was in the beginning. There's no two ways about it. But I think later on things changed. You know, had to change in a way. If Paul wasn't trying to like lead them and trying to get them motivated. Then
I think
I,
that
go ahead.
time, I mean, he just had a lot of ideas. I mean, he had a lot of ideas, and he wanted to get them out. And I mean, I think John recognized this and helped allow it to happen and helped realize Paul's visions. So call it what you will. I mean, if you want to say John was the leader in the first half and Paul was the leader of the second half, fine. But again, it's the sum of all parts that
Yeah,
made it
it's
great.
all four, but definitely it's always about the four.
Yeah,
components. But I mean, I could see Paul being more of the leader late in the late years. I mean, it's obvious to me, but John, but because just because John was more like the drugs, but also
that
we want to spend time with Yoko and
and
do
he
more
lost.
things with him.
Yeah, right. I think he lost interest in the the later years.
And I've always thought it's what should happen. I think they were ready to split, and Paul was trying to keep it going longer than should have. But at least at least they got a couple of great
Right.
albums out. But I still don't think it could have went much longer than that. I don't know. It's my opinion, but
No, I think it was probably good that it ended when it did.
yeah. I went to my first record store day today in 2 years. I only bought two new record store day releases. You want to tell me what they were? Love Led Zeppelin, but I can't get behind most of the Plant solo stuff. I like Little by Little. I remember that buying that single.
Yeah, yeah. I have no interest in Plant's solo stuff. None.
Yeah, we're talking about the 1999 Yellow Submarine,
I don't
and
remember,
every time that comes up, we find out who, and then I forget for the next time it comes up.
but it's fantastic.
You know what? Somebody told me who's a real Paul guy, and see what you think of this. I always said it was, John. The Beatles was John's band. John formed the Beatles. He started the Beatles, right? And then somebody said to me, "No, no, John had the Quarrymen, and then Paul joined him, and then later on, Paul and John together formed the Beatles." And I wonder, I don't know if that's wrong, really, when you think about it. You
No,
know,
no, John. I think it's in my personal opinion. Yes, John started the Quarrymen, but it would not have become the Beatles. In my heart, I believe it would not have become the Beatles if Paul and George had not have joined the band.
hmm, interesting. I think so. Well, the Sex Pistols, I know some of the songs, a few songs I like. You know, I still think I like Joan Jett's version of "Pretty Vacant" much better. That's for sure.
I have no
Uh,
interest in Sex Pistols at all.
it's a remix rather than a remaster. Peter Coburn
Okay,
did it.
all right.
Yeah, those words are tough. You gotta remember remix. Yeah, I sometimes use them interchangeably. I got to stick with Jet. I got to. For me, phew, it's hard. Jet between Jet and 1985 for those two for me. What
Yeah,
about you?
yeah, probably 1985.
And I used to love the song "Band on the Run." That's one of the songs I've got real fatigued on. They play it on the radio too much. But yet,
That
Jet, I can like it. I love it every time I hear Jet.
right.
Like it's the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's very true. Yeah, there's no doubt.
that
But
and
that,
Let Me Roll It. Let Me Roll It too is another one.
yeah. Well, you know what we say about that, right? It's like I loved that song till he played it so long.
Right.
Stop doing it. But actually, whenever I've seen him, I really love when he goes into "Let Me Roll It" every time.
Mm.
This is interesting, Jack Daniels. I actually have some, but
Mm.
one of them is going to be my favorite disco song of all time. Is probably "Hot Stuff." Like
Oh, yeah,
Donna
Donna
Summer.
Summers, Queen of Disco.
I love the guitar in that. I don't want to make them all her, but Casey the Sunshine Band, Get Down Tonight. That's two. That's two. I got to think of the third one. I probably would pick another Donna Summer one, but maybe I Feel Love. I love Donna
That's
Summer.
yeah. I Feel Love is a great track. I'd have to give it some thought. I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, there's a lot. And you know what? I always loved Staying Alive, but that's another thing. I don't want to hear it ever again.
Right.
I loved Staying Alive when it first came out, but replacements. The Replacements and Alex Chilton's. I also
Mine's
bought.
yeah. Do you think I'm sexy? There you go, my favorite. No, I was kidding.
Oh yeah, I love that. You really? Because I love that song too.
I do love it, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite disco song though.
I wanted to show something that I bought, but I'd have to go get it. Which something I got at Record Store Day, which I haven't shown. Let's see if
Yeah.
I could. Is it in this room? It might be in this room. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it's right here. How convenient. I was surprised. Well, first of all, they had some new used box sets, including they had Tug of War there, but the box it was $50. Here's what I got. I'm going to blow this up. I didn't know this existed. It's a box.
Oh yeah, you didn't know that?
A box, though? I didn't
Yeah.
know that. What is it? Yeah, Ringo Starr and his All Star Band. The one I have is just when I got it originally, it was just a single disc. What's in here, though?
Check it out.
Wow, Jesus! I don't want to. Wow, I don't want to ruin it because it's really. Okay. What's it? Don't come easy. What's that? It's got the regular live CD in there that I'm used to. What's it? Don't come easy. Do you know? I can't get. It's jammed in there, folks. Oh man. Uh, this probably hasn't been open since 1989. I run the risk of ruining it because I'm really pulling it. Oh my god!
Yeah, I'd say leave it alone, Joe. Yeah.
But I want to see. But it has something I'm actually interested in. It don't come easy disc. All right, back in the day in '89 or '90, whenever it came out, I bought this, the
Hmm.
standalone CD. This I've never seen. Ringo Starr and his All Star Band. Yeah, it's got it. Don't come easy. It's got the weight.
Mm.
It's got Rocky Mountain Way and Act Naturally. Act Naturally is one of my
So
least Beatles
it's like
songs.
like an EP then.
Yeah, an EP. Yeah, that's it. I never. Go figure. $20.
Nice.
I'm gonna. I gotta show this on my new Beatles. Wait a minute, there's something else in here. Wow, this is fucked up. Oh man, it's like stuck in there. This looks like a postcard. Postcard
Oh, nice. Very cool. Yeah, I'd say that's a postcard.
from Paradise.
There you go.
The underrated song, "Postcards from Paradise."
How many Beatle titles can you get in one song?
Yeah. Well, like I say, my defense of that song is he was doing that crap for years, and there's enough already. And I was like, I'm just gonna go all out for just one song and see how much I can fit in there. And have a complete lark with it. That's how I look at it. It's like tongue in cheek, and I like the part, the main line, "Postcards from Paradise." Wow, this is really, man, this is jammed in here, man. All right, well, this thing, you run the risk of bending it. Uh, Woohoo! What a collection.
Hey.
As my late friend Mike used to say, nothing like collecting, pal. Anyway,
Yep.
let's see what I'm
That's
missing here.
great.
There's probably a lot of stuff. Uh, I'm gonna go back up. Oh, James Byers. Sorry. Let's start a virtual band with Mr. Sticker Mania and Mikey Arugula. Ask them. Ask them what they think of the idea. I think they went downhill after Jimmy Nicol left. With that too. I mean, I never got that book, The Beatle Who Vanished.
Oh, that's a fantastic book. Yeah, it's an essential read in my
Let me
opinion.
ask you: does the book talk about in detail about his tenure when he was with them? because I
Yes.
couldn't give a rat's ass what happens to him after he left, and that's the thing that gets me with that. The poor boy, poor baby. It's like, look, you were a temporary gig while Ringo was in the hospital. That's it. It never was meant to be a career. So get over yourself.
Well, I mean, well, he had also thought, well, okay, well, if they got rid of Pete Best, I mean, maybe they get rid of Ringo. I mean,
Oh,
if you know, I mean, that was just him thinking. I mean, that's just part of the book. It's just you see this situation happen before, and you're like, okay, well, if I can impress them, why couldn't it happen to me?
no, I don't.
Yeah.
They didn't have. Well, they got rid of Pete Best with his looks. I don't think they're going to get rid of.
Well, Jimmy never looked the part. Jimmy Nickel did not look the
He
part
was
at
trying to pull
all.
his hand down on that
Yeah,
audience. He was just trying
yeah,
to get it going.
yeah. He did not look the part.
He likes Blueberry, but he doesn't like My Love. I can't go figure.
Ugh.
That's one of the things we tease each other on.
My Love is a very danceable track, don't you think, Joe?
No, I don't. I
No.
don't think that for some reason. I don't believe for a second that you can dance to My Love. But I know there was one guy once that just enough hooch under
Yeah.
under his belt that he was able to dance. You know what always kills me every time I watch that? You remember, like you were doing that for a while,
Yeah.
and I was fumbling trying to get my camera on, and I kept.
Yeah.
Finally, by the time I was doing it, you just gave me like the end of it, and that was you didn't know I was recording at first. Well, by the time I recorded, you knew I was recording. I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, that could have been great if I got the whole thing. Uh, Without Paul, we would never have had the fantastic ending of the Beatles with Abbey Road. Paul even sketched the design for the iconic cover. I think they ended at the right time. But without Paul, we wouldn't have had anything. you know.
Uh,
Well, I'll stick with the best of Donna Summer, personally. Anything where Nile Rodgers plays guitar for disco. I like Night Fever. I also like You Should Be Dancing.
Should Be Dancing's good.
I mean, it's not a rap song. What? Well, I guess it's funky. It's a funky song. Rubber Band Man by the Spinners.
Oh, Spinners.
That's funk, right?
I don't know if I would consider that disco.
No, so I say that's why I made sure I said it. Upside Down's okay. It's not one of my favorites though. Dun, 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 dun. Disco's great, man. At the time, I was disco sucks. I was a disco sucks guy at the time. I mean, I love it now. So happy, upbeat, fun. Go out and dance,
So
have a
what you're
good.
saying? So what you're saying then, in theory, rap has a chance for you, Joe.
Oh, how?
Well, you're saying that you hated disco at one point in your
Oh no,
life, and
rap.
you love it now.
Disco was music. Rap is
I know. I know. I'm messing with you.
Um. Yeah. Well, there was no packaging, right? I just saw it in. It just had the discs in the discs in like a
Yeah, I don't
thing,
know.
a sleeve thing. That didn't help. That didn't help matters any. Me wanting to pass it up. You know.
I know. Our friend Mitch Axelrod got one this morning. You saw some pictures.
Fact. The Beatles may have ended at the right time, but they didn't end it the right way. Too bad they couldn't have had a press conference to announce that they had agreed to go their separate ways.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. So then you're saying, in theory, that every band that breaks up, they should have a press conference to announce that they're breaking up.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what else they could have done, really. And yeah, exactly. And that's why I think it's great that they never did it because I don't believe they could have ever lived up to the expectation. It was too much of an expectation, and I really believe it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they could have, but I
I
know
think they
eventually.
could have recaptured some magic. Would it have been great as the original albums? Maybe, maybe not. But
I mean, I think a stage show would have been Magic would have been great. But as far as new albums, I still feel like eventually you got to hit your Dirty Work album or whatever
Yeah,
rap you want to
right.
say.
And then plus, then they also have solo careers. So then you're like, also, okay, well, what song do I take for the Beatles? What song do I take for
Yeah,
solo? You know,
yeah. Do you think Pete Best decided to retire once he heard Anthology was getting a reboot? Oh, that's interesting. He thought the payday and decided he never needs to work again. I hope that's not what he said. And what I mean by that is,
that's interesting. That's an interesting
oh yeah, I've
take.
heard that one before. You didn't originate it. I've heard it
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
No,
I
it's
know. That's the first time that I had seen something
but
like that.
here's my take on it. He already was committed to go to the what is it, Abbey Road on the River thing. He already
Hmm.
had a gig. Now, if he found out about it, said, "Oh, gee, well, let me finish this gig that I'm already committed to, and then I'll retire." That I could see. But if you just skip out and say, "Screw them," I'm not going to do it because I don't need to anymore. I think that sucks. But we don't know. We don't know why. But so
So I mean, yeah. So it looks like it does have like a box or whatever,
I didn't
or
see the
some
box
kind of.
unless the box was on the other side because the one I saw on my side was
Okay.
the I didn't see the box. There was no box when I looked at it.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
You can retch to my love. This from the guy that likes Mamunia. Even though I like Mamunia too, by the way. I'm just saying, I like Mamunia. I think it's underrated, but that's more retchable than my love. I'll never understand that. I mean, different strokes for different folks. Everybody's got their own taste. I just don't understand. Like, to me, the other ones are more syrupy or tweet. Philadelphia soul music.
Yeah. Yeah. That's there. You go.
Born to be alive. Miss You by the Rolling Stones. I love when we could say goodnight tonight and people could say how it's not a disco song. And I say, I don't, sorry, LJ, it's a disco song. It says disco single on it.
That's the disco mix.
Oh, well, this is true. If it wasn't Paul, the wheel would never have been invented. Roads would never have been built. And he also invented the iPhone. No more Pete Best autographs at the fest. Sad. Well, he hasn't been to the fest in quite some time. Boy, this could go on for a long time, but I'm getting close to 2 hours. That's why, Tony, I didn't ask you to come up because I'm going to be going soon anyway. It's all right, Ma. I'm only bleeding. See all the stuff I'm coming up with here? People think, you only know the Beatles. I've been bringing up all kinds of songs. Well, sort of like rap, but more musical. Nice. People say that about, like, I love Gotta Serve Somebody. They say it's rap. And if it is rap, it was like a one-time thing. So I'll do a freaking Gotta Serve Somebody, and then that's it. Good night. And then you go from there. You go to Precious Angel. You go to I Believe in You. The title track, Slow Train Coming. What's the matter, folks? You think I only know the Beatles? It's a great album, Slow Train Coming. Anyway, it's all right, man. Lightning doesn't strike twice. I didn't see a box, just a flimsy jacket. That's what I saw. Maybe they're doing that for the purpose of the advertisement.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I forgot Mrs. Van. That's one of my favorite tracks too. That's got to be my three on there. Mrs. Vanderbilt, 1985. Jet, Let Me Roll It. Those are my favorite. You could say it was a rap song or the first rap song. I'm all right with that. But the thing is, but you know, it wasn't what rap became. Like it wasn't rap then. Whatever it was, they didn't call it rap.
It was a gangster rap.
Mm. And I still think that the backing is more interesting on Subterranean Homesick Blues than on the rap songs. Personally, I'm gonna have to start ending this because we got time for just 30, 40 more questions. Anyway, this was a pretty good live stream.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining me there, Tom. And we're gonna
Thanks
get
for
back
having
into
me.
well, always have you had me on yours.
Yeah.
So Eventually,
Yeah,
we're going to do YouTube
I
stuff.
saw a good movie called Luckiest Man in America. I don't know if I remember if I talked about it
Yeah, you did.
on my show, but it was there was that game show called Press Your Luck with the the whammies, the no whammies. But it's about the guy who memorized the patterns of the show, and he had won over 100 over 100 grand on the show. And it was a pretty good movie. Unfortunately, no one will is not going to go see it. But if you're
Mhm.
looking for a movie to see in the theater, check out The Luckiest Man in America.
I always say that I like Rapper's Delight. When I first heard it, I mean, way back in the day, I thought it was funny. It was funny, clever.
It's innocent, It's not what rap later became.
Yeah. Um. All right, everybody. So thanks. Thank you. Yeah, boy, Tim comes up with some good stuff now and then, and that's a good point. Anyway, I'm out of here. So we'll talk soon, folks. See you later. Cheers.